When I was a kid, I guess everything just about had a car as a character at that time, you know. If you didn't like cars, you liked the show it was in, or, you know, the actors or something, you know. It kind of, instead of just a car, it had a connection. You know, a lot of that stuff brings back memories, you know, more than just one way.
My name's Lisa. I'm from Conroe, Texas.
And Michael, and I'm from Bay City, Texas.
My name is Celia. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
And my name is Ibrahim. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Brantley Youngblood. I'm from Jackson, Tennessee.
I've had them any country you can think of, anywhere. I've had them from everywhere.
Sure, Penny Hellstrom. From northern Manitoba, Canada.
I look it up, roadsideamerica.com and Road Trippers, those kind of sites. So when I plan out my road trips, searched through those, and this one popped up, and I told the wife, I said, this one looks really cool.
We were traveling between Memphis and Nashville, and we were looking up things on the internet, and we seen the ad for Rusty's.
We're all big movie fans. They love Fast and the Furious. We love Back to the Future. We love Batman.
All the ones in here. They're really awesome, every single one.
Mostly this race, I really love it.
The Herbie car right away when I came in the door, for myself, and I noticed that right away.
I saw Knight Rider, and I'm like, that's a big chunk of my childhood was watching Knight Rider.
The Batman one. The Batman one.
The one thing about being in Jackson and people come to see you, they're coming to see you. If I was in Branson or Gatlinburg or something like that, you know, they're looking for tourism, you know, spots. You know, it's just something that they're walking past me. But they come to see me. They're coming to see it because they want to see it. You know, so that's one good thing about it. Some of them are replicas, and some of them, that's the only way you're gonna have it is like the Ghostbusters, the Ecto one. There's no, Sony still has the original car. There's no way to have it, you know. So that's what you got to do. You can find anything you want to on the internet now. Any measurements, you know. They've got these programs where you could take the size of a hubcap. Like I know this hubcap is 14 inches wide. Then it will tell you every dimension on the rest of the car. You know, there's no guessing anymore. Some of it you just had to make. You know, there wasn't nothing you could go pull off a shelf. So I made the rack twice. The one that's on it now is aluminum. At first it was made out of steel, and you wouldn't think that would be that heavy, and it was so heavy you couldn't put it. By the time you put all the stuff on it, probably crushed the roof in, so I had to redo it in aluminum. The only things that don't run and drive is the futuristic stuff, like the car that's from 2015, Back to the Future, and the Dragula. It could run. It's just there was no use of making it run, so it's got an empty block in it, you know. But you could have it probably running in a couple of days if you wanted to. But General Lee, probably more people think more of the General Lee than they do the actors that was in the show. It's probably more popular than the actors that was in the show. It's the most recognizable car in the world, and it's, you know, back then especially, you know, people would step over the top of a Ferrari to get to it. You know, that was something I always wanted. I always wanted General Lee, and I'd traded for one 22 somewhere and kept it a while and sold it and wished I never sold it. And then I think the DeLorean was the next thing I got, and it just kept going and going, you know. And, you know, my dad would help me, you know, he helped me get the Batmobile. You see a 21-foot long Batmobile to stop traffic. One episode of A-Team is like filming a whole movie these days, and they've done it every week. You know, that's a lot of money. You know, there was those real stunt guys, real vehicles, real explosions. Quentin Tarantino did Death Proof, And he wanted the old stunt man. He wanted real stunts. He wanted full speed, you know. And you watch that, you know. The first of the movie's a little slow, but you get to where the chases are, man. Those are some major stunts. And Buddy Joe Hooker is doubling Kurt Russell. You know, they're cannon stunts, blowing the cars. A lot of work went into it. Sometimes some of the stuff really bothers you when you're a car guy. You watch Fast and Furious and you see, you know, him running 2 tanks of nitrous through it. A car guy like me knows that car couldn't take that. And even like Paul Walker and the actors, they know that they might not like it and they know it's not the way, but, you know, 16-year-old kids or, you know, people that don't fool cars all the time, they think, you know, that's amazing, you know what I mean? So they had to just let it go and not be so upset about it.
This is a great way to bring back a bunch of memories. I mean, I think all the boys have been yelling the whole time they've been in here, going, oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I don't even know if they've actually soaked in what's all here yet.
Most time it's either, you know, Batmobile General Lee, Fast and Furious. Girls are gonna like the Mystery Machine. That's probably the girls' favorite, you know. Younger kids, they like the Death Race Mustang. I had a group of kids come through yesterday, and it's just, that's their, you know, 16, 20 years old. That was, you know, that was one of the main ones that, you know, it's so wild looking.
It's really nice to know that there's a place that you can come to and see the cars.
The real thing.
You know, exactly, and really get to see it, you know, close up.
Like I said, it's just pop culture, you know, and then you got the car guys that just like cars and the shows, and then you got people just like the shows.
Oh yeah, both. I've always been a big movie and car guy for sure. And it's just really impressive here. There's a lot more than I ever thought there would have been, that's for sure.
I don't know, it brings back a little bit of memories from your childhood.
You know, for $5, I don't know what you can do much better.
I tried to make it $20 would get a family of 4 in there. I don't mind them, you know, getting their picture with something. This is really, yeah, that's really a car, and they can't believe they're even sitting in it, you know, so that gives you a little, you know, feel-good stuff there, too. Like I said, the Eclipse, this one is your Stranger's car. It's a 95 Mitsubishi. I love cars, and I just like to see people's reaction. I like to hear them. It gets people excited just to see them, so I get a kick out of that.
I think just seeing the excitement that my kids have, just seeing the same movies that I seen whenever I was growing up, and then seeing the cars from it.
It's a big hug for my childhood. It's a really big hug.
I always like drew cars, you know, in church. The teachers would send the pictures to my mom in kindergarten. I don't know, just infatuated with some kind of way. I don't know, had it in me from the get-go. It wasn't something that just happened. I don't think at that time they really knew how bad I had it, but, you know, she'd always, like I said, they'd always support whatever I wanted to do. You know, I can remember my dad, he always wanted a new truck. He always said, I want to smell the paint burn off the engine one time. That's what he wanted to do. So I can remember him getting a brand new 4-wheel drive pickup, and I still got it. It needs fixing up, but it was the first truck he ever bought, and I really thought that was something, you know, in my mind. He gave it to me when I turned probably 14, and I fixed it up at that time. He seen how good it looked again, because he had wore it completely out, and he said, what can I do to have my truck back, you know, since it was fixed up? And I said, if you get me a Mustang, and this was a 416, I said, I'll trade you, you know. So that's how I ended up getting the Mustang back there. They had the local high school bonfire one night at the school, and after everybody kind of went down to a little grocery store out Southside, and my car caught on fire. I mean, literally, it almost, if the guy hadn't come out, it would have burnt to the ground. I called my dad, he come to get me, and all the guys, they was really giving the car a hard time, you know, calling it everything you could think of. And my dad pulled up right when it was going on. He heard them, you know, saying this, that, and the other about the car. Got it home and got it where it would run again. And thinking back, he was probably worried about me driving it because of the shape it was in. So one day, he said, can you help me? He was a plumber, and it was a Saturday night, and I couldn't go nowhere. My car was messed up. He said, it'll only take a minute. He pulled up in his yard, and it was, man, a sharp Mustang GT sitting in the front yard, and everything you could want on it. And he went in the house, and I'm still thinking we're fixing to do some work, you know, and he comes out, he said, "You like that car?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "It's yours." And from that moment on, some people paid a price with it that was, because it was a pretty quick car, so I let some people have it after that. I was drag racing and got caught. They got us out of the car and cuffed us and put us in the back of the car. And me and the other guy are sitting in the back of the car, and I said, they're just scared of something, you know. That guy, he caught a bail bondsman, and I told him, "Whatever you do, please get a hold of my dad," you know. This was a Friday night, and my dad left me in jail from Friday night all the way till Saturday night. He come late Saturday night. He went to work, everything. He wasn't worried about it. They brought me out front. I was in handcuffs, and he said, "I only want to know one thing." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "What kind of bird don't fly?" I said, "A jailbird." And that's the last time I was in there. From 16 on, I was probably trading, buying, you know, stuff. I would get something, fix it up, swap it off, or I'd find something, sell it, make a few bucks, buy something else, and the whole time getting better and better. You know, you would trade up, you know, always trading up. My dad seen me making some money off of it. He said, "Hey, if you see something, you know, let me know, and you know, you get it. I'll put the money in, you put the labor in, you know." And then we'd get stuff like this, like these cars in here, and we knew that we shouldn't get rid of them, you know. I was always looking behind a house, or when I'd go with him on a job, first thing I was asked, "You got any old cars?" You know, and that's where a lot of them come from, is just getting lucky, you know. I grew up probably about 13 miles from here, and I moved up here when I was like 14. And my mom and dad lived around the corner. And, you know, once I got out of the house, I moved into this house here. Eventually, we built these shops, you know, started out a couple and then added on. It started out as just a place to put everything, you know, and it's about 140 feet long, 60 feet wide, and so started out just a place to keep everything. First, we were going to work on it in here, and then you get your stuff in here and you don't want it, so we built another little, Dad had seen some stuff where it looked like an old town, so we tried to make the other buildings look like a old street, you know. And on the inside, they're just garages, you know, but the outside sides of them look like old buildings, you know, so we was just kind of going with the theme. Like most of these cars right through here, these are just old original cars, but they're all odd. You know, most time when you see something from the late 1900s, early 20s, 30s, they're a Ford. They built millions and millions of them. The Franklin, you know, it's super odd. It's air-cooled motor. The grill is fake. When they first started making them, they didn't even have a grill in them, and people wouldn't buy them because they're used to seeing a grill, so the people, you know, put a grill on it, but it's a 6-cylinder air-cooled motor, like aircraft-based motor. The Dodge brothers, they were way ahead of their time. That car is mostly metal in it. All these other cars are wood frames, and the wood's dry, it's gonna start breaking. That's what happened to most of old cars like you used to see. They're full of wood. People would let them set out. The wood would rot out of them, and it just collapsed. It was just thin metal. The Pontiac Carrier is a 1930, and this was one of the local dealerships had this car. This car's probably got, I think, 5,000 miles on it. And the script on it was for the dealership floor, you know. Most of that stuff was in here, you know, and had it set up, and I would have like car clubs want to come and have picnics and stuff like that. And I can remember one day a Beamer pulls up with Texas tags on it, and they say, "Are you the guy with all the movie cars, you know?" And we're just passing through, and somehow they had found, you know, how everything's on the internet, pictures of this, that, and other, and looked me up and drove right up my driveway, and I thought, you know, maybe if I just do it just on the weekends and give, you know, people to see the stuff instead of it sitting in a garage where you're not being able to be used, you know. So found the old building and took time, painted everything, put it together, and, you know, I ended up opening up the museum. Most of all these cars in here, you know, that was me and my dad, and you know, he liked original stuff too, you know, as far as and the movie cars. But most of these you see in this building were mine and his, or, you know, our deal together. He passed away before I opened up the museum. He got the, you know, he was here for a lot of the picnics and people coming to here to see the cars here. And, you know, he really, that's the reason I really think he would enjoy the museum, because he loved for people to come and look, you know. Easygoing, nicest person you could ever meet in your life. Do anything for anybody, you know. The guy that come check the the meter the other day. He said, he said, I guess it's your dad. He said that I told him I'd heard about cars, over here, and he said, yeah, come on over here. And he said it made his day because my dad, he took the time to bring him over and show him everything, which my dad probably got as much enjoyment out of it as he did, But, he loved for people to look at him. I traded a couple old cars for a 56 Ford, and that was one of his favorite cars. And I told a guy it's for sale, and he come over here and it was sitting here, and the guy was looking around it. And he was wanting the car, and my dad walked up and he said, what are you doing? I said, this guy's looking to buy this car. He said, you didn't tell me you was going to sell it. I said, why? What is it? He said, I like that car. I said, it's yours. I told the guy, I said, it's not for sale anymore. So at least I got to give him something he wanted, I didn't know it at the time, but it's one of the ones he liked better than any of them, so I got to do that. He was somebody that, you look up to, you've seen other people look up to. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him, just genuine, good guy, When, he passed away, people say, you got big shoes to fill, I'm never gonna fill them shoes. Never. I'm not that good a person, Never will be.
I would just like to thank a few people. My dad, who's passed on, I couldn't have done it without him, like I said in the documentary, but my mom too. My dad couldn't have done what he did without my mother, and since then my mother has supported me since my dad passed away. I'd like to thank Wayne Latham, who has passed on. When I first opened the museum, he was a big supporter. He'd come up here and help me. He just did it out of love, didn't ask for a dime. And he was also the person who sold me my first car. The Mustang you seen in the video come from Wayne Latham, and I'd like to say thanks to him. Also, Danny, who works here. He's my cousin. Couldn't do it without him either. He's supported me the whole time. I'd like to thank Richard and the guys who filmed the documentary for thinking enough of me to come down here to shoot it. And also Zach, who's doing this part right here for me. I'd like to say about the museum, we've been open since 2010. When I first opened, people thought I was crazy, which I still feel like I am, but we've had thousands of people from all over the world walk through the doors here on Hollywood Drive in Jackson, Tennessee. And I'd like to thank all the people who has come, and I'd like to thank the people who supported the museum through helping me, like not knowing what I was doing. Sonia Outlaw Clark, who runs the Delta Heritage Center in Brownsville, she went out of her way to help me. And Paige, who works for the city, she's went out of her way to help me. And I appreciate that. As for the museum, we swapped the cars out. You could come in here next year and it'll be a little something different. We have a lot more cars than we have room for, so we just have to rotate them out. So you'll see something fresh most of the time. Maybe one of these days the guy's supposed to sell me the building next door. We could get about 20 more cars down here, but till then, that's just the way we had to do it. We rotate them out. As for the hours, we're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 9 to 5, and Monday through Thursday by appointment. If you got a group or a school group, church group, or something like that, and you want to come visit the museum through the week, just call, make an appointment. We try to make it, or just small group, and we try to make it available. And if you want to contact us through Facebook, or look at our Facebook page, that's the place to see the most recent changes. Also, the website is www.rustystvandmoviecars.com. But the best place to see the newest stuff is on Facebook. And want to just invite everybody out to come check out the museum. If you're looking for something to do off the beaten path and you're in Jackson, Tennessee, come check us out. Thanks.
Over here here behind my house, we had a hole. It was a pond. We dug it out. We'd take our 4-wheel drives and run through it. And I had a little bitty, just a small Jeep. And my friend had one that was jacked up, big tires on it. My dad had come over with a backhoe and dug it out probably 7 feet deep. Didn't even know it. And so my friend comes over here and he just never checks or nothing, just busts through it. Sinks the Jeep. I mean, nothing sticking up but the roll bars, you know. And my dad comes easing up. He said, I thought I was going to catch a little Jeep, but I caught a big one, you know, just stuff like that.